We often revere the infinite as something beyond us, an incomprehensible force too vast to challenge or overcome. It feels immense, untouchable, and daunting, like staring into an endless abyss. To attempt to face it might seem foolish, even arrogant, but what if I told you that the infinite isn't as insurmountable as it seems? What if the infinite isn't real at all? Here I am, boldly proclaiming that we can conquer the infinite. Why? Because so much of what we perceive as infinite is nothing more than an illusion born from the limits of our minds, from the biased perspectives we impose on reality. And these illusions, they don't just confine us, they cripple us. They anchor us in despair, trap us in patterns of self-doubt, and hold us back from achieving what we're truly capable of. But before we dive into how we conquer the infinite, let's start with a story that will illustrate the concept. Imagine a man whose sole purpose since the moment of his creation is to reach a destination, point A, just 5 meters ahead. It sounds simple, right? He begins walking toward it, but strangely, no matter how far he goes, distance between him and point A never changes. Confused, he picks up the pace. He starts running faster and faster, pouring all his energy into this effort. Yet the distance still remains 5 meters. How could this be, he wonders. It's almost like he's trapped in a race with infinite distance. An endless loop where no matter how far he runs, there's always an infinite gap remaining. For him, this is an incomprehensible, mighty challenge, a feat impossible to conquer, and infinite. But what's really happening? Reality is often disappointing because it reflects our own stupidity. The man is running on a treadmill, a simple treadmill unbeknownst to him. Every step he takes activates the treadmill beneath him, keeping him in place. From his perspective, it seems like he's battling the infinite, but from ours he looks like a fool who does not understand that he can just step off the treadmill. And yet this man cannot see it. Why? Because his perspective blinds him from seeing it. His entire existence has been defined by a single purpose, to move forward and reach point A. He is so focused on the task that he is unable to step back and question the nature of his reality. He is trapped, not by the infinite, but by his own biased perspective. Only when he looks beyond this limited view, outside the confines of the treadmill, will he realize the truth. Only then will he reach point A. And in that moment, the infinite ceases to be. The great incomprehensible challenge dissolves, revealing itself for what it always was, an illusion. But why then do so many of us continue fighting illusions? Why do we waste our energy battling false infinites when we could address the real and very mortal challenges in front of us? The answer lies in the nature of perception. Reality is often far different from how we perceive it, and when we face something that seems infinite, it's usually not because the challenge itself is infinite, but because our perspective makes it so. Consider Zeno's paradox. To reach any destination, you must first travel half the distance, then half of the remaining distance, then half of that. By this logic, you would never reach your destination, because there will always be another fraction of distance to travel. It sounds absurd, doesn't it? But as we experience in real life, we do reach our destinations. Mathematicians have even proven that the infinite sum of these fractions yields a finite result. The paradox was never real. It was always an illusion, a product of flawed reasoning and a biased perspective. And just like Zeno's paradox, many of us create our own infinites. We trap ourselves in mental treadmills, endlessly battling problems that don't actually exist. We become like Sisyphus, condemned to push a boulder up a mountain, only to watch it roll back down for eternity. Some fight these battles endlessly, never yielding results. Others despair and give up before they even start. But in every case, the root of the problem is the same. We are blinded by our own biases. Take a moment to reflect. What is holding you back? What perspectives have you clung to that impose limits on your potential? Is it your pride, convincing you that you must always be morally superior? Is it your humility, whispering that you're not worthy of greatness? Is it your arrogance, blinding you from the truth? These perspectives are nothing more than self-imposed rules. Rules that exist separately from reality. And when you live by false rules, life becomes a game you can never win. The real rules of the world collide with your imagined ones, creating paradoxes and infinite challenges that were never meant to be. They are the fools of the treadmill, those who cling on dearly to these false perspectives. They are the ones who pour endless effort into unwinnable battle, fighting foes that don't exist. But here's the truth. You don't have to be one of them. The solution lies in clarity, in stepping back, reassessing your perspective, and separating reality from illusion. When you recognize that your infinite challenges are illusions, fabricated by your mind, you free yourself. You step off the treadmill, you leave Zeno's paradox behind. You begin to see the world clearly, unshackled by biased perspectives. And in that clarity, you'll find your true path forward. Take for example the traveler in Zeno's paradox. If they were to focus solely on the infinite halves of the distance remaining, they might despair, but instead by continuing forward, trusting in reality rather than their biases, they eventually reach their destination. The same is true for you. When you let go of the belief that you're battling something insurmountable, you unlock the power to act decisively. Like the man stepping off the treadmill or the traveler reaching their destination, you can conquer what once seemed impossible. So what's the infinite really? It's a mental construct, a projection of our fears, doubts, and a consequence of our limited perception. The infinite only holds power over you when you allow it to dominate your mind, but when you hold dominion over it, nothing can stop you from reaching your goals. This doesn't mean that life's challenges are easy, far from it. Real problems exist, and they require effort, perseverance, and resilience to overcome. But the key is to focus on the real and very mortal challenges, not the illusions. When you strip away the facade of eternity and reveal the impermanence beneath, you empower yourself. You see problems for what they truly are, finite and conquerable, and that's where true growth begins. Remember this: the first step to conquering the infinite is recognizing it for what it truly is. Only then can you break free from its grasp and move forward with purpose. Reflect on your life. What are the treadmills you have been running on? What illusions have you been battling? When you find the answers, you'll realize that the infinite has no power over you unless you allow it to. This could be the beginning of everything for you, and all you have to do is open your eyes, look beyond the illusions of your mind, and see the truth. Then the paradoxes of the infinite will be a thing of the past, something that you have conquered. So I ask you, are you a follower of Sisyphus, who endlessly pushes a boulder up a mountain, only for it to fall down for eternity? Or are you a follower of Negus Carlsen, who carves out a summit on a mountain top, ensuring the boulder stays in place? And as always, glory to Negus Carlsen.